Get your films on with the Blurs.
Once an idea has taken hold of the brain, it's almost impossible to eradicate.
Unpacking movies has never been more spot on, woke, fire, and just plain lit.
They are lit all the time.
So if you're unsure whether or not to plop down some cash for a film, check out the Blurs.
When a man with a 45 meets a man with a rifle, the man with a pistol is a dead man.
Brondo's got what plants crave.
It's got electrolytes.
You really only need to hang mean bastards. But mean bastards, you need to hang.
Don't say you weren't warned. Here's Brandon and Jeff.
Hello and welcome to episode 121 of the Film Blurs. I'm Jeff Stewart, aka Uncle Jeffrey, and I'm joined here as always with friend and co-host.
Hi, I'm Brandon. All right. So let's get into it. First part of this news is just gonna be Fantastic Four news. They've added mad people to the cast. So Ralph Ineson is Galactus, and I love Ralph Ineson, and man has a good voice. So it makes sense that he's Galactus. They added recently last night from Red Dawn Natasha Lyonne, John Malkovich. Look, if John Malkovich ain't playing Dr. Doom, y'all fucking up. Yeah, look. I'm done after this movie because, like, you know, now that it's coming out, what this movie's gonna be about, like, they're established, they've beaten all their significant villains, like, you know, outside of Doctor Doom and Galactus, because Galactus is a MCU villain. The biggest villain of the Fantastic Four is Mole Man, and that's what the movie's gonna open on, is them beating Mole Man. Sue and Reed's son is gonna be literally a child, walking, talking, has his own powers, Nathan. And I'm just like, all right, well, I mean, at this point, it seems like y'all are just making a Fantastic Four sequel. Like, this is like a third or fourth movie, and I'm good after this, because, like, I'm only sticking around to see Galactus.
Yeah, I mean, look, I have never really cared about the Fantastic Four, so, like, it's no skin off my back. It seems absolutely like every other Marvel movie, so the bar is set real low for me. So it's going to have to surprise me, right? It's going to have to, like, come with something.
I mean, I'd be more excited for this if it wasn't Max Shankman. That's the problem. I just y'all could have, you guys can literally get anybody, and y'all just keep getting these low rent directors just so Kevin can literally do what he wants. So whatever. I'm after Fantastic Four, I'm good. Like, I don't need to see this shit.
So, but we'll see when it drops. Was it 2026?
Next year.
Next year. All right, 2025. All right, there we go.
All right. So Jeff, what have you watched lately?
What are you watching?
So for the longest time, I have been avoiding the Gerard Carmichael reality show. Just because, you know, I was a big fan of Gerard Carmichael, his stand-up before Rothaniel, and when Rothaniel came out, I thought it was a revelation. It was great. But now it seems like his whole entire shtick is him being gay and using the audience as his therapy sessions. So I wasn't about that because it just seemed disingenuous, right? But on a whim, it was like, all right, let me check out his HBO reality show, which he, even in the first episode, says is his version of the Truman Show. I watched the first 3 episodes, and it's good. It's real good. Because he comes off as a straight asshole throughout the whole entire fucking thing. There are no punches pulled. It's super gay. So if you have any kind of reversion to displays of, you know, queer identity, this show is not for you, because this motherfucker's sucking feet. He's making out with dudes. He's on Grinder showing assholes and abs and shit like that. It's a wild, it's a ride, but it's absolutely hilarious, right? And kind of poignant. So I think, you know, he is achieving what he wanted to with this show. And I'm gonna ride with it. Like I said, I think it's good because he doesn't try to paint himself in a better light, right? He just shows himself as a regular person with faults who's going through some shit. So if you get a chance, Gerard Carmichael reality show on HBO Max. Moving on from that, I decided to dive into the AMC Plus show Parish, starring our patron saint of awesome, Giancarlo Esposito. And it is exactly what you would expect from an AMC Plus show. It's low. It's you can tell that it's low budget. It's shot wildly. You know, I think it's shot to distract you from the fact that it's got no production value, right? Giancarlo Esposito is always Giancarlo Esposito. He's always awesome. He's always great. He always brings it. But it's your bare bones, basic bitch. I was in the lie. I was a criminal. I got out and I get pulled back in because of a scumbag friend. And the scumbag friend is played by Skeet Ulrich, who is utterly unrecognizable. Yeah, I like. It took me 2 episodes to realize, like, oh shit, that's Skeet Ulrich with a really bad Cajun accent and looking like cocaine is a hell of a drug. So Parish, if you like these kind of movies, like these shows, like these crime shows where, like, you know, an ex-con gets back into the game and has to navigate the criminal underworld as an old man, this is the show. But don't expect anything close to the caliber of Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul. Moving on from that, I have continued my jaunt down the hole of NYPD Blue, and the more and more I watch this show, the more I realize that NYPD Blue is cast with nothing but Elliot Stablers, right? So imagine if a whole entire squad of police was nothing but Elliot Stablers. That's NYPD Blue. And the thing about it is, the language is so specific, the writing, the dialogue is so specific in this show. It's almost as if Shakespeare wrote a cop drama. It's wild how lyrical and poetic and precise and deliberate the dialogue is in this show, and it's almost hypnotic. So I'm on season 7 of a 10-season arc. It is it was not meant to be binge watched, I will tell you that. But I'm going to do it because I don't have 10 years to catch up on all of them. Moving on from that, I watched David Cronenberg's first film ever, Stereo. And Stereo is pretty much a horny Scanners. It is 100% a student film that he somehow got money for. But it is super, super boring. Yeah, I can't even, like, I could go into a deep dive on how amateurish and film school this is. And honestly, besides his preoccupation with science and the paranormal telekinesis stuff like that, there really is no evidence of the Croenenberg that we see today, right? Or at least the Croenenberg we saw in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, right? In most of our favorite filmmakers' filmographies, you will at least see glimmers of what they're going to be capable of in the future. Michael Mann with Thief, Scorsese with Mean Streets, Lee with She's Gotta Have It. There's no evidence of the body horror maestro that we got later on, which is kind of interesting. I would like to see where that pivot happened, because if after seeing this movie, this dude should not have a career, honestly, after watching the first movie. And that is it for me. Brandon, what have you been watching?
I've been watching Disney Tales of the Empire. It's a anthology show. It's 6 episodes, about 10 to 20 minutes. The first 3 episodes, you could take or leave it, and the last 3 are really good. I like this better than Tales of the Jedi. Tales of the Jedi was kind of boring, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, Tales of the Empire, it dropped May 4th, and it'll take you like what? I want to say an hour to get through it all, because it's just 6 episodes. They're all 20 minutes. Moving on. While we're still on Disney Plus, I'm gonna talk about X-Men '97. Now that I've watched the entire season, this needs to be like a traditional season where it's like 20 to 22 episodes, because they've done so much in these 10 episodes where it felt rushed. From episode 5 on, it just felt rushed. I'm like, bro, this is a storyline that should be playing out for a minute, not for the back half, the last 4 episodes, because episode 5 is a pretty big episode, especially dealing with Genosha, and we still got to deal with everything that happened before episode 5, and that's continuing on, and it's a lot. It's just a lot for this last 4 episodes to handle, and I don't even think it handled it that well, because the season ends. It's a 3-part arc for the end of the season. So the last 3 episodes is Tolerances, Extinctions, parts 1 through 3. And when you get to the end of part 3, it still says to be continued.
So, I mean, have they made any announcements about like a second season or a continuation or anything like that?
Second season was greenlit right when they announced the show. So, I mean, I guess it's coming next year. But y'all just need to start doing 20 episode shows for this, because it's an animated show. Like you could get away with doing 20 episodes and letting these storylines breathe. It's fucking violent. Like the OG X-Men had a lot of cool action, and this one does too. It is just fucking violent. Like, I'm surprised how violent it is, considering this is a kids show. Look, I have no interest in seeing X-Men in live action, because I'm like, well, I mean, if they're doing it here, then there's no need for me to see a live action X-Men, because I know it's not going to be as good as this shit. So, take that as you will. It definitely is one of the best things Marvel has put out in a minute. So maybe because it's an animated show and Kevin doesn't give that much of a fuck. So maybe that's why. Whatever. Anyways, moving on to Law and Order. Man, they've been doing some tough cases recently, and you know it's bad when they have a Eat the Rich episode and the victim is a rich dude, and we're all just like, oh yeah, fuck these people. like justice needs to be served for what happened to these rich people. But when the case ends, everybody's sitting there like, man, fuck these people, man. Ugh. Uh, I love how now they're resolving Nolan's begrudging uh work style with the new DA, Tony Goldwyn's DA. This last episode was Tony Goldwyn taking on the case himself with Nolan assisting, and I'm glad they did it so that way they could work their shit out as they were doing this case together. Yeah, this last episode was rough. They were dealing with a serial rapist who he was an aggravated rapist, which is worse than a just regular rapist, because an aggravated rapist involves uh as they call it, heinous violence. And the dudes were pissed. Like, even the cops were pissed. They're like, how does a dude get out after 5 years on aggravated rape charge? What the fuck? So they had to go through and make sure this motherfucker stays behind bars. It was crazy episode. Moving on. Also, I respect Tony Goldwyn's DA. He's a good DA. Moving on, I'm going to organized crime. That's right. Let's talk about organized crime. So the back half of this season has been dealing with Stabler trying to get his brother off heroin. His brother was a Iraq war soldier, and that's how he got addicted to heroin, because there's a whole drug operation going on over there using the military, and he got roped into it. So now Stabler's trying to take down this kingpin while also getting his brother clean. And I do not know how they're going to wrap up this storyline in this last episode, because this shit has been wild. Like, this involves the Organized Crime Bureau, the ATF, the fucking FBI, and I think they're going to get the CIA involved. That's how big this shit is. So, messy. And finally, let's move on to the last the last two things I want to talk about, which is I had AMC Plus before I canceled after my free trial, and I got to watch The Walking Dead: The Ones Who Live, which is the miniseries with Rick and Michonne. I only wanted to. I started. I was like, I'm gonna watch the first two episodes, and then I'll get to the other ones later. And I ended up watching all 6 episodes that night. This is what The Walking Dead used to be. Honestly, this is the good storyline, the good character work, the action. This is what The Walking Dead was, and I think it helps having Andrew Lincoln and Dinah Gurney be the showrunners and the driving force behind a lot of the creative stuff, because they co-wrote the first episode with Scott Gimple, and then Dinah writes episode 4, which is one of the best episodes of The Walking Dead period that I've ever
Holy
seen.
shit! Wow! I didn't even realize that they were showrunners and writers on that. Okay, that makes
They're
things a little bit
showrunners, writers, producers, and stars. Episode 4 is a great episode. It's a bottle episode, and you could tell she had very much creative control, because they play 2 Afrobeat songs at the end of the episode, and it fits. It works. This is a love story first and foremost, and it's really crazy to watch a Walking Dead show that is this hopeful and remind you, like, oh yeah, even when the world falls, there are good people who will still try to do the right thing. But if you try to fuck them over, they'll kill you. But even after people try to fuck them over, they still try to help everybody out, no matter who they are. It's a very optimistic love story. It's very well done. Leave it. I like leave it. I don't want anymore. Like, just this is perfect. Don't do another season. Let them do other things and have them come back when it's time to wrap up the other shows. Because I read that at the end of Lenny James's arc, Lenny James, who plays Morgan on Fear the Walking Dead, he runs off to find Rick, and I was just like, well, that nigga could have stayed on the original show then, if that was the case. And then
Right.
The Walking Dead ends with Daryl hopping on his motorcycle and riding off to find Rick and Michonne, and I was just like, So how does he end up in Paris if he hops on his motorcycle looking for these two? So now, like, we gotta get these two characters, everybody back together to Alexandria, because that's the whole thing, is them two trying to get back out of this government organization and get back to Alexandria. So I was like, all right, so I guess everybody's gonna try to get back to Alexandria, but I guess that would have worked out if they just had Lenny James pop up at the end, being like, "Yo, I made it back to Alexandria, Rick. It's great to see you." And same thing with Daryl. Whatever.
Doesn't Negan have his own show too?
Yeah, in New York City, because it popped up. They wanted me to watch all these shows. I was like, oh, I'm just here for this miniseries,
Right,
bro. I'm not watching the rest of this shit. Yeah. Look, I liked it. It's a good ending for these characters, but like, I only want to see now Lenny James get back, and I'll read about what happens to Daryl, because who knows? I don't think Daryl's show is gonna last much longer. I don't think any of these shows are gonna last much longer.
I'm surprised they got spinoffs, honestly.
But yeah, this also wraps up Jadis's storyline. I did not realize how complex of a character Jadis is, because I think I jumped off right when her character was introduced in the trash heap.
I don't even remember. Oh, Pollyanna McIntosh, the tall chick. She
was the leader of the trash people.
Okay, yeah. I think Pollyanna McIntosh. Okay, all right, cool.
So, yeah, The Walking Dead, the ones who live, fucking good. I'm glad this was a mini-series versus a trilogy of movies, because I'd be pissed if I'd have to wait for each of these movies to come out. And so,
right.
And then the final thing in TV I'm going to go through real quick is the SNL episode of Maya Rudolph, and the promos for this episode were funnier than the actual episode. I love Maya Rudolph, because Maya Rudolph, even there's times of this I crackled just because she was so good, like especially the sequel sketch to Hot Ones, and when they started squirting lotion in her mouth, I started dying. But like, this was a weak ass episode.
I'd say I thought it was one of the better episodes, of the season. I mean, they weren't all the sketches weren't hitters, but I mean, I laughed more in this episode than like many of the ones we've had this year.
I don't know. I wasn't fucking with it. Vampire Weekend. This was the first time I've heard anything off their new album, and I was just like, I like y'all first two albums, and this new one, I think I'm good on. I've heard when I watched them play those songs, I'm like, dog, this sounds. Y'all are making straight dad music now, and I'm good. I'm real good. Y'all just never gonna top A-Punk, huh? So that's that. We're gonna move on to movies. Start with Late Night with the Devil, because since I had AMC Plus, they had that up, and I rewatched it, and I like it a lot. Still on my top of the year. I just don't like it as much as I did the first time, but this movie still fucking rules. After that, I rewatched the entire Mad Max saga so far. Fury Road is definitely still the best Mad Max movie, but with that said, everybody who's saying that this series reboots with every movie, y'all are just fucking stupid. He's just going further and further into the wasteland, and with each movie, he becomes more and more of a shell of himself. Like, I don't know how y'all think these movies reboot just because the first one takes place in it's not even civilized. Like, so society is on the verge of breakdown, and my man just loses it and goes into the wasteland at the end of it because his family's murdered. So Mad Max 2 and Beyond Thunderdome are just him in the wasteland. Same with Fury Road. It's just him in the wasteland. And come to find, everybody's saying that Fury Road is a reboot. Come to find out, there is a graphic novel that connects Thunderdome to Fury Road, where he goes to Bullet Town and gets a V8 Interceptor and rebuilds it.
Is that did George Miller write the comic book, or is it just
he co-wrote it?
Okay, cool.
So,
cool.
Like, the only one I could say is bad, quote unquote, is Beyond Thunderdome, because the first half fucking rules, and then you get to the second half with the kids, and it's just like, All
Yeah.
right, and then the chase at the end, I was just like, dog, this is the same exact chase from Mad Max 2, just with a bigger budget. Like, y'all, this movie's like even Bruce Spence is playing the same fucking character, except uh, instead of having a gyrocopter, he has a plane. Instead of picking up this young woman he's lusting after, he has a kid.
Right.
Which is, I was just like, why not just have this be the gyro captain? Honestly, it's the same fucking character. Only cool, like Auntie Entity is the quote unquote villain of the movie, but I'm just like, not for nothing. She's trying to rebuild society. Thunderdome's there for entertainment and punishment. Like, it's kind of hard to argue that she's a villain, especially since Max like reneged on the deal. It's just like, well, yeah, then nigga, like, yeah, I like, of course she's gonna do some devious shit when you renege on a deal.
He broke the deal. He faced the wheel.
Like,
It's
yo,
fucking, they got a rhyme for it and everything.
She's not a villain, and I think that's what hurts this movie. This movie tries to paint her as the villain and have her as a villain. I'm just like, she's not a bad guy. Gave us 2 slappers though from Tina Turner, so that's why I'm saying like this movie is above average. But yeah, Mad Max Saga still rules. And because of that, I was like, you know what? Let me rewatch The Lost World. And like, yo, The Lost World still fucking rules. It's wild because the first one is fun and has a sense of adventure. And this one is just dark. It's more violent. It is, I think, I think the problem is Ian Malcolm doesn't make for that much of a compelling protagonist versus him being a supporting character. Obviously, he works better as a supporting character, but still, this has some of Spielberg's best work. Like, the camera work in this shit, I was just like, yo, every shot in this motherfucker is amazing. He really, when he said he wanted to make another one, he did. He made another one. Like, I'm gonna get to a rewatch. Hulu decided to, of the week of release, put up all the Planet of the Apes movies, which is stupid. Because this shit should have been up like a month ago. So I rewatched the first one because I was like, I'll get through the rest of them. I haven't seen the originals in a minute. 1968's Planet of the Apes, that's still a fucking great movie. I'm surprised how quick it moves too. Like, it just moves and gets you in and gets you out. And whoever directed this, I was like, yo, this nigga went off. God damn. For 1968, they took this shit serious because you could easily see how everybody could have phoned it in and just made a fucking cheap genre flick. But there's a reason why this movie is a classic. Like, it's great. God damn, man. I have not seen this movie in a minute. Like, it's been years. And it is still amazing. Went to a promo screening for Babes. And if you're asking me why I'm not doing this in the main review, it's just because it's not worth it. Look, this is going to speak to a specific type of New Yorker. I'm not that specific type of New Yorker. I liked this better when it was Broad City. Like, this is just Broad City, except Ileana's older and she has a black best friend instead of Abby. So, like, I don't know, man. Your mileage may vary. Like, I've talked to people who found this hysterical, and I was just like, it's whatever. This is Pamela Adlon's directorial debut, and this is co-written by Ileana, and you can tell for a directorial debut, you could tell it's a directorial debut because there's this janky slow motion at points and very awkward intercuts throughout the movie. I don't know if it works all that much, but like, I mean, who knows? Maybe you listening might enjoy this much more than I did. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about is another movie where you're probably going to ask me, why didn't I save this for the main review? It's just like, it don't matter. Tarot. So I get the Tarot. Mind you, before I saw this movie, it was raining and I had been walking for like 3 hours straight. So I was at like 30,000 steps yesterday by the time I got home. I sat down and the morning, I should say, the morning caught up to me, and I started watching it, and it is what it is. Like I remember the first 10 minutes, and I'm just like, this is poorly written, this is poorly acted, but I'll give like it has better production value for a movie that costs $8 million. It has better production value than fucking Argyle, which is shameful.
God damn.
I fell asleep. I fell asleep because like the day caught up with me, and then I started getting mad because I keep forgetting AMC 34th Street in that theater is fucking loud. So every time I be enjoying my nap, I get waken up by a jump scare, and I'd watch it for a minute, and I'd just be like, "Oh, this is fucking retarded on every level." And then I fall back asleep, and then another one of these motherfuckers getting killed off. I'm just like, "Oh, okay, all right." And I finally stayed awake for like the last 30 minutes, and look, this is gonna be on Netflix very soon. I like this movie is it's cheesy, it's bad. It ends on a pop rap song that said, "Thank God I made it. Thank God I made it." There's one character who we all thought who died. This character is the doofus. And I'm not gonna say who it is because it'll give it away, but this character fucking survives. And we're all like, wait, what? And then he explains how he survives. And I was like, that's all it took? That makes no fucking sense. I was like, what in the fuck is this shit? Like, and even the shit with the tarot and why the shit's happening, they explain it. There's a whole backstory. And I was just, this is fucking stupid. Like, it's stupid on every level.
I mean, honestly, I had forgotten that movie existed. I forgot that it was coming out. Like, yeah.
If you are in your 20s, or this is a sleepover movie for teenagers. So that. And if you're in your 20s, this is a movie you watch at like 10 p.m. before you go out and get fucked up and then come back. This is a movie where you invite your friends over before you go out, and y'all start getting dressed for the night, and you have that shit on in the background, and you're just like, damn, this movie's crazy. You do shots as you watch it, and then you go out once it's done. That's what this fucking movie is. Yeah, you could do worse, but you can also do so much better. So much better. There's only 2 people in the movie really watching it. Otherwise, everybody else was in there trying to sleep or on their lunch break. And they just wanted some time to kill on their lunch break.
God damn, like that is a resounding endorsement. Motherfuckers just go like it's a lunchtime movie. It's like I got an hour and a half to kill. And the fact that you weren't the only one taking a nap in there, that shows you where this movie lies.
I mean, it was between this or not another church movie. Because this was a time killer. I had some time to kill, and I wanted to sit down and not hit 50,000 steps. So, AMC A-list, you treat me nice. Because every theater in the city has recliners now, and I'll just recline, throw my fucking sweater around me, and knock out. Or sometimes I may wake up and like, let me get an icy. You know what I mean? Let me get I paid $4 for this icy. Let me go get another one. Come back, drink it, fall back asleep.
Fair enough. All
right, let's get into trailer talk.
Roll camera and action!
It's time for some trailer talk.
All right, DUNE PROPHCY. It looks big. It looks expensive. I hope it's good because this has had some trouble over the past 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, anything that's going to be on HBO that that is this big is automatically going to get comparisons to Game of Thrones, right?
Well, this is a HBO Max streaming. This is not even going to hit linear. This is just streaming only.
Just streaming, yeah. Okay, but yeah, I mean, it's giving me like big Game of Thrones vibes. Which, if it's the first 4 seasons of Game of Thrones, then great. Is this based on a book, or is this just like they're making it up as they go along?
I'll be real with you. I think they're just making it up. I don't know. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah. I mean, it looks cool. You know, like living in the world of Dunes, learning how the Bene Gesserit became the Bene Gesserit. I'm for it, and it's got Mark Strong in it. You know, like it looks like it could be a banger, but we know how these things go. That spin-off of Game of Thrones looked like it was going to be a banger, and I had to drag myself across nails to finish that shit. So we'll see.
I fuck with Emily Watson. I really do. I love her. I hope it's good. This has had 4 different showrunners and 3 different directors. I hope it's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like it went through a whole cast overall as well. So we'll see. I don't like the logo. I don't know why they just didn't use the logo from the movie. Shit looks janky as a motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean it's dropping in fall, so maybe they'll do a rebrand before then, or maybe this is phase 1.
Because this went through 4 titles too. I can't remember any other one except it was just Dune: The Sisterhood at one point before it became Dune: Prophecy. So
I mean, I like the Dune Prophecy better.
I like Dune: The Sisterhood better if it's about the Bene Gesserit.
Yeah, but I mean, they're all about fulfilling the prophecy, or designing the prophecy. Honestly,
it's also about fulfilling a sisterhood because the Bene Gesserit is strictly female, and the only male Bene Gesserit would be the Quizarch Haderach, what they are trying to breed for over 100 years. So
right,
sisterhood fits better.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it is what it is. It's what we got, and we'll see how it plays.
And now, the moment you've been waiting for. The Film Blurts feature film review.
Let's get into the main review. Alright, so I'm going to start off real quickly with a spoiler-free review for Furiosa. Mad Max finally gets its epic movie. Like, this is an epic. It spans years. This is the biggest the scope these movies has been. It is definitely the second best Mad Max movie so far. It's not as good as Fury Road, but I mean, this definitely has 2 of the best action sequences in the entire fucking franchise. This shit is fucking insane. I don't want to give it away, but like, Anya Taylor-Joy, she does her fucking thing in this, and Chris Hemsworth as the Mentis, like, this movie pulls no punches. Like, Immortan Joe's a piece of shit, and I hate him even more in this than I did in Fury Road. But Dementis is on another level where I'm just like, yo, he's gotta go. It got to a point where I'm like, yo, this guy's gotta go. I think this is the only film that's worthy of its 2.5 hours. That's recently, I'll say recently. This is a odyssey. Like, it really does feel like an odyssey, and it's in 5 chapters. So yeah, man, I cannot wait to see this shit again. I hope the Warner Brothers keep giving my man's George Miller money to keep making Mad Max movies, because like I will watch it. I will watch Mad Max until he dies or I die. Either way, one of us going. I've loved this franchise since I was a fucking teenager, and I still love it. Like this is so good. So just to give you guys a brief summary, because I know you're thinking like, well, what? It's a prequel. So, and what makes it cool is like every Mad Max movie, you don't need to see any of the other ones to get it. So Furiosa, she gets taken from her home, and she becomes, the ward of Dementis. Dementis is so fucking insane. He wages war against Immortan Joe and the other Citadels, and it gets complicated. It gets wild. George Miller reminds me a lot of Sergio Leone in that he really is the king of visceral action storytelling. Because Sergio Leone, in his Dollars trilogy and Once Upon a Time in the West, really does storytelling through faces and what the character's feeling, and that continues here too, because they did that a lot in Fury Road. So Furiosa doesn't speak that much. Like, I think Anya Taylor-Joy has 30 lines of dialogue in total, and you don't even notice it because it is all in her face. This is like the best way I could put this is like, you know, if Fury Road was the good, the bad, and the ugly, this is Once Upon a Time in the West. Like, this definitely feels like Once Upon a Time in the West.
It's high praise. So that's real high praise.
Like, it's not the best. Like, let's get it twisted, because I know a lot of people who saw it yesterday are trying to poo-poo this movie because it's not Fury Road, and we've seen this before, and it's just like, nigga, it's Mad Max. I don't know what you coming in expecting. Like, y'all didn't even think Fury Road was gonna be good, and then you saw it, and you're just like, oh my god. And it's like, he gave us another fucking Mad Max movie that rules. I don't know what you want.
They don't know what they want. They'll never be happy. Some people will never be fucking happy.
So, but yeah, we're gonna do a full-on spoiler review because there's a lot to talk about in this fucking movie. But see it large and loud. Like, get yourself IMAX tickets or Dolby tickets. I saw it in Dolby Atmos yesterday, and screening room 1. They finally turned the sound up in that motherfucker, because there's parts of that shit where I felt that in their chest. Like, every time they turned their engines on, you feel that shit. The gunshot, even the punches. Like, when Furiosa was pistol whipping a character, you felt every hit. And I'm just like, yo, George fucking put the bass in this sound mix. God damn. Also came to find out, George just finished this movie 3 weeks ago.
A word?
Yeah. He said that at Cannes yesterday. He's like, yeah, I just finished this shit 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So as soon as they finished it, as soon as he finished it, I guess they just started showing it to critics. Because they've been screening it for like the past 2.5 weeks. And I was just like, so as soon as they got it in their hands, they're like, all right, let's just start showing it to people. I was like, Jesus Christ, man. Yo, George, you really pushed it to the wire, man. And for those of you complaining about the CG, I will tell you there's only 2 parts where I noticed like the CG. Otherwise, it's seamless. Like, yo, get over yourselves. And even the parts I've noticed, I'm like, it's not that bad.
Right. Like I said, some people will never be fucking happy. Like, I know this whole entire show is about critiquing movies, but sometimes you just gotta like enjoy the experience.
And me personally, I don't go into every movie wanting to hate it, because that's just a waste of my time. If it's a movie I'm gonna hate, either I'm just gonna sleep through it because I need to, or I just won't go because like there's other shit I could be doing, like working on some other shit I'm in the middle of trying to get done. Like, it's a waste of time to go see shit you're not interested in. That's my thing.
100%.
And I know one person who'll go see everything, and I'm just like, but why? Like, at a certain point, you're wasting your time and your money.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes just let it just enjoy your life. Like there's it's
also,
like, what
do
we
you
always
need
say?
to
It's
be
just fucking
seen
movies.
my question to this person, do you need to be seen all the time? Like, you're not that important, because you don't write reviews, you don't record anything.
I mean, it might be, it's a deeper psychological condition.
And this person also says they don't like paying for movies, so if they don't get invited by the guild we share or the other connections that this person has, this person just straight up just doesn't go. And I'm just like, so you don't really love movies then? If you're
Right.
saying you don't pay to see it, you only go see shit if you're invited.
Look, I can't. Yeah, I can't worry about other people's psychosis. I gotta worry about my own. But yeah, that's just it's dumb. It's wasteful. But also, I don't know what their life is like. I don't know what kind of like hole that they're trying to fill.
For every guild. This includes the DGA, the PGA, SAG, the Writers Guild. Every guild you have to pay dues.
Mm-hmm.
This person missed dues for 1 year and wasn't in the guild. So when I talked to this person on that year, they missed the guild. They just said they just spent their whole time learning the craft of photography and working in their garden and planting plants and just working in their garden.
That sounds wonderful. That sounds like, for a person who doesn't like movies, that sounds like a great use of time.
Yeah, especially since this person lives 2 hours away from the city. Like, that's a lot.
Yeah, no, it's look, God bless them. I can't live their life, but yeah, it just seems dumb to me to go.
Especially since I talked to this person, and this person doesn't like anything unless it's like a small indie movie.
Which is like, yeah,
Like the last big budget blockbuster this person liked was Black Panther.
I mean, which Black Panther?
First one.
Okay.
First one.
Right. I mean, I don't know. Like, they don't like movies. Maybe they like the second one or the whole bunch.
Oh no. We that's the one movie we see eye to eye on. But yeah, this person just does not like blockbuster movies. I will get around to seeing Magical Negroes, so this person will get off my back. I'm gonna put that on the list this weekend since it's on Peacock.
I tried watching it
And the fact
twice.
that this person said that was one of the best movies of the year so far, I'm just like, especially when one of this person's favorite movies from a previous year was When Hands Touch. That movie is fucking terrible. And I don't know how this person isn't offended by that movie.
I haven't even heard of When Hands Touch. I know I've tried to watch Magical Negroes twice now, and I've fallen asleep both times.
Yeah,
So-
this person was like, this is what you got out of Get Out. This is Get Out for me. Like, this is my Get Out. And I'm just like, oh, Jesus Christ.
But it doesn't say anything. You know what? Like, I'm not even gonna get into it.
I'm gonna save that for next time. Let's get into If.
Yeah, If. So when we first got out of it, I thought it was just a fine movie that seemed genuine, right? The faults in it didn't outweigh the enjoyment that I got out of it, you know. But the longer I've sat on it, the more and more the issues become fucking prevalent in this movie. In If,
I mean, go ahead.
not enough to me for me to say like, yeah, don't go see this piece of shit. But it's enough for me to be like, I could watch the highlight reel of this on YouTube in a couple of weeks and get the same feeling. I don't have to watch the whole entire fucking movie.
This should have came out last month, to be honest with you. Like, this is not a summer movie. From the trailer, it seemed like a summer movie, like a summer kids movie. But watching it now, I'm just like, this is too unfocused and unnecessarily complicated to be enjoyable. Like, to me, it reminds me of The Goonies. Like, to me, The Goonies is a fine movie, but it's hyped up by people, Jeff, your age and older, because y'all grew up with it. That's what If's gonna be. If's gonna be one of those movies where kids today are gonna watch it and they're gonna be like, "Oh, this is a great movie," and the younger generations are probably just gonna be like, "Oh, okay, all right."
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Like you said, it's needlessly complex, but it sets up rules and doesn't follow them.
I don't even think it sets up rules. I don't even know what the rules are. They're not even clearly defined.
Well, I know, like, okay, so, and this bothered me throughout the whole entire movie. All right, so when an imaginary friend's creator, whatever like that, forgets about them, they're supposed to disappear, right?
And we never see one disappear.
We never see. There's no threat here, right? There's no, like, and not that there has to be a big bad throughout there, but there has to be some kind of adversity. It just seems if they don't find they don't find a host, right? If they don't find a new kid, they're gonna be just fine.
Yeah, because we don't see an If disappear. Like, that should have been the introduction. Like, yo, some grown ass man forgot about their if just vanishes.
Disappears. Right. There you have a threat. Then you have something like, okay, yeah, all like this little girl and Ryan Reynolds, they have to go out there and do this. Otherwise, these ifs are just going to disappear. But we never get that. They're just chilling. They're just chilling in their retirement home.
A better version of this movie would be Ryan Reynolds is this little girl's father. Keep the mother dying from cancer. He's jaded, she's disaffected, and then they both start seeing ifs, and that's how they come together and get their spark for life back. And instead of that, we get this whole thing with the mother dies from cancer. John Krasanki, there's something wrong with his heart, and he's undergoing a surgery. And she's living with her grandma, and in the same apartment building is Ryan Reynolds with a bunch of ifs. And my question is why are we going about this roundabout way to get to this when there's an easier way forward through this? And don't get me wrong, like, I love Fiona Shaw, and I love seeing her play nice people instead of evil people. And she's really settling into her gilf phase. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
She's one of our finest British actresses. You could cut her whole character out, be quite honest with you.
I mean, you could cut John Krasanski out.
Yes.
I mean, like, you can cut a good half hour out this movie. Honestly.
It's also too long. Like, this is an hour 40, hour 50. I'm gonna Google it, but I think it's like
hour 44.
Okay, so it's an hour and 44 minutes. And yeah, this could have been like an hour 29, hour 30, maybe even an hour 20. Like, I'm not mad sitting through an 80-minute movie if it's really fucking good.
Right. And like, here's the thing. I love the character designs. I love the voice acting and shit like that. It's just, there's barely a story here, and the story changes halfway through. It doesn't make sense. And there's this twist.
Yeah, the twist, which sucks. And the whole movie is serving the twist. And that sucks because the movie doesn't make sense. So when the twist happens, you're just like, you did all this for this lame-ass twist, which would have been better served if you had just done a heartfelt story in the first place.
Right. And like, they set up, there are red herrings throughout this whole entire thing about the twist. And like, you'll figure it out halfway through. And it's just like, well, they're not going to do that, right? You think to yourself, they can't do that. They're not going to do that. That's going to be lazy. And guess what? They do it.
I feel bad because this kid is doing great work. I don't know what her name is. I'll look it up. But like, this kid, I was like, for a kid actor, she is really good. And shout out to John Krasanki. Like, I can't even be mad at this movie just because Kaylee Fleming is the little girl's name. I can't even be mad at John Krasinski because he is really making an earnest, old school kids movie. Like, we used to get these all the time in the 80s and the 90s. Like, if this came out in like 1995, this would be one of the biggest movies of that year.
And here's the thing. I can't hate this movie because it is so genuine, right? It doesn't feel like a commercial for product, or it doesn't set up for from the world of 15 movies later. It just feels like John Krasanski making a movie for his children, right?
Yeah, because
for better or worse,
because he can't make. Look, I get it. Like, he made 2 Quiet Place movies back to back. You're gonna want to do something different before you close out that trilogy, and he can't show his kids Quiet Place,
right? And honestly, like, it's a love letter to his kids, which is great. And when the movie hits, it really does hit. Like, that whole entire scene with Fiona Shaw dancing, right? Like, and when Blue reconnects with, I don't want to give away, like, reconnects with his person. Like, those were kind of like I got a little teary because they were very honest and beautiful moments. But then it doesn't make sense,
I'll be
right?
real
Because
with you, Blue got on my nerves after a while, though.
I mean, like they could have played Blue much dumber. They could have played Blue much dumber than how Steve Carell portrayed him. But here's the thing: once the ifs find their people, right? Because like we said, it switches halfway through, and the main narrative becomes something totally different than the first half of the movie, right? Like the objectives. What happens, right? Like nothing happens.
I think, like I said this on the train ride home. I think that it's great that this movie takes place in New York, just because if in New York, when you see somebody talking to themselves, you either leave them alone or you're just like, yeah, man, it's the city. Like it does
Right.
that to you. So when people are walking around talking to their imaginary friends, they're just like, yeah, whatever. So I think that helps. My only other problem is I really like that one Asian kid who's in the movie, and
Not
this
in nearly
bitch,
enough.
yeah, this bitch does nothing to help this kid out. I was like, you could be a good friend to this kid and just play chess or checkers with him, like real quick. Like the fact he's laid up in this hospital and he's like, hey, you
And-
wanna hang out with me? My
Well,
mom messed up the TV.
Well, she did. I guess she did give him a dragon. I don't know. Wait, here's the thing. All right, another thing that kind of bothered me. How sick was John Krasanki? Because like his daughter would show up for like 5 minutes at a time and then just leave, right? Like you don't see. She doesn't seem all that concerned, right?
I mean, not until the movie deems it to be. But
Right.
also, I mean, he straight up tells her, like, yo, don't spend your whole time here. Like, go have fun. Go be a kid.
It just seems like yeah, it's. And where does she get the money for the flowers? Because all right, so here's the thing: the narrative's so wonky, then you start nitpicking all of these things that if the movie was more cohesive and better, you'd let pass.
I wasn't worried about the money just because I saw how she lived. I saw that nice apartment her grandma has. Like even the title card that was on the screen before the movie started, the little girl has a smirk, and I was like, oh yeah, when I see that smirk on a white kid in New York, that's that I'm rich smirk. Like I'm rich as fuck. Nobody can tell me shit.
Yeah, I mean, a shout out to like I said, the character design. My favorite character was the pink alligator, and I didn't
like the
know.
banana.
I
Banana's
like.
cool.
I didn't know why. I like the pink alligator was just cute and loving and stuff like that. But then I discovered that that's Maya Rudolph, and it makes total sense because she's mother and like she's the greatest thing to happen to America since America.
Wait, my question is, what was Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character supposed to be? Is that like a water bug or something?
I thought it was like a hybrid water bug Mickey Mouse thing.
Because when they go to the old folks' home for ifs, there's like
a bunch of them, right?
Yeah, and I'm just like, wait, but how? Or because there's no way every person's different. No person's gonna have the same fucking imaginary friend.
Unless she was like multiplied herself and like so she could have the dance number. See, these are the questions that this movie forces you to ask because it's not good.
Also,
right?
Some of these kids are fucking unimaginative. I was just like, it was funny, but I was just like, yo, what kid is gonna have a glass of water as their if? I was just like, yo, like the banana, yeah, because the banana's funny, like a walking, talking banana. Yeah, I get that shit. I think of that, but a glass of water,
a psychopath. A psychopath. Like I want to meet that kid as an adult because he is he's a fucking cop or an astronaut or something like that. He's doing something real rigid and he's about to snap.
Like the even the raccoon superhero, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Like a raccoon who's a superhero, like motherfucker could fly and do all types of shit. Like, yeah, that makes sense. Like the only one, like I said, the only if that bothered me was the glass of water because I'm just like, no kid's gonna think of that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and there's the invisible one, which is
that
like,
one was funny. That one
like
was funny.
like they played the joke one too many times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I laughed every time.
Shout out to, I mean, I guess this is officially Louis Gossett Jr.'s last role, and he's great in it as Louis the Bear. I wish the character and him were in a better movie, but it's it's a nice pin in the cap.
I just googled the budget for this.
Mhm.
110 million.
I don't
That is too much. That's way too much.
I mean, the way those special effects be special effecting though, like that
Like,
animation's good.
It is, but like also I know exactly what part of the movie they spent it on too.
Yeah, the part that should have been cut down,
The
like
the,
that.
the old
the
folks home where it
yeah,
just
the dance
got
number. Yeah,
it got too long. There's a sequence halfway through where this little girl's imagination runs wild at the old folks home, and yeah, Jeff's right. It does run on too long, but that is literally where that entire budget went, was for that sequence.
right. I mean, like half of it, half of it is the fantastic motion graphic work, but the other part of it is licensing for a song and the likeness of somebody, which when you think of it, right? How would this kid know about this person?
Oh,
Right?
they established that was a family thing. Like you see her dancing to the song in the montage at the beginning with
Okay. Yeah.
her mom and her dad, and then when she's flipping through the records at the end, her grandma has the same exact record. So
All right.
that is a family favorite artist. So I was like, oh yeah, that
I mean,
all
I
tracks.
glassed over that. Like I didn't make that connection. Um,
yeah.
yeah.
Paramount, man, I get it. Like y'all want to stay in the John Krasanki business, and I get why John Krasanki made this, but I would not have given him 110 million to make this. I
No.
like the cap for this should have been 80, and even 80 is too high.
Right. Right. I mean, look, this is gonna make money.
I don't know.
I mean, it's gonna at
It is
least
sandwiched between Apes, right? That
right.
came out last week. It comes out this week, but then next week you have, not only do you have Furiosa, but you have the Garfield movie, which you'll be getting a review from me in the next episode. But like, I don't know, man.
I mean, kid money is long money, man. Like it doesn't have to be good.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm saying
So
Garfield drops next week, and then 2 weeks later, Inside Out 2.
yeah, I mean, I think it's still gonna make a it's at least gonna make his budget back. It's not gonna be a failure.
I don't even know about that. Look, he tried to make a live action Pixar movie, and I'm just like, look, this is what we call mid tier Pixar. Like to me, this is Luca. This is on the same level of Luca. And
Yeah.
at least Luca made sense to a certain extent. But there are questions in Luca where I'm like, that don't really track. But I mean, it tracks more in that
Right.
than it does here.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't hate this movie. I enjoyed it while watching it. I will never have to see this movie again. Right?
Oh, but I will say, Luca did almost make me cry at the end. This doesn't come close.
Yeah, like when the ifs are
Reunited.
Because like that's kind of a spoiler that the mission changes to reunite these ifs with their original kids. Like some of those, like they were heartfelt. Like I felt that.
I guess I'm not as moved by this as you were. That's my thing. I'm just like, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, not the whole entire movie. Like when it hit for me. But I can honestly say this is not a good movie.
Yeah, if my kid asked me to take me to see this, like I'd be like, oh well, if I can't get you into the press screening, we're gonna wait for Paramount Plus. You know what I mean? Because like, you're gonna have to take your kid to see Garfield. You're gonna have to take your kid to see If. You're gonna have to take your kid to see probably what's gonna be the biggest movie of the summer. We all know what the biggest movie of the summer is gonna be.
What is that? What is that?
Despicable Me 4.
Oh, I forgot that was Despicable Me 4 was coming out.
Listen, every time they play that trailer, all the adults are laughing harder than the kids, and I'm just like, yeah, this shit's gonna make $1 billion because people are fucking dumb.
I still have not seen one Despicable Me film. So
I'm telling you, watch the first one.
yeah, I mean,
It's
look,
good. It's a real good movie. I love the first one.
I mean, yeah, the first one gotta be good. Just to justify the making 4 fucking more plus the 3 more plus the spinoff. Don't the
The
Minions
two
have their
spinoffs.
two spinoffs?
Yeah, because it's the Minions movie and then the second Minions movie, which is a prequel. Because that's the only I could say that's the only one I came to remotely enjoying because I was just like, oh, it's about Gru being bad again and on a fucking cool ass mission.
Sure.
And it was it's little kid Gru. Little kid Gru is kind of funny.
I mean,
That nigga has hair.
eventually, eventually I'll end up watching one of these, but like, I'm not in a rush.
No,
Like,
you should
it'll
watch
ha-
Despicable Me 1.
Hey man, it'll happen. It'll happen when it happens.
That whole Illumination, they owe their whole life to Despicable Me. Because if they came out the gate with like Despicable Me 2 or Minions, that level of quality, I don't even think they'd still be around.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, like if it makes a nice rental, you know what I'm saying? Or
That's
if you
fine.
really just need to get your kids out the house because they're driving you insane, then yeah, sure, take them to see this. But I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. I don't think it'll be good, but I mean, I hope it's not. I hope it's not a bad movie. But like, I don't know. I got an underlying feeling I might enjoy Garfield more than this shit.
We talked about this on the train. I'm sick of Chris. Which Chris is this one?
Pratt.
Chris Pratt. Yeah, like
It's because dog. He's not. You said it. He's not a voice actor. There's
Right.
nothing about his voice that is unique.
Yeah. 100%.
Like him doing Mario was not good. Honestly, that movie wasn't good for a number of reasons. But like him being Mario, I was like, I got more out of Charlie Day being Luigi than him as Mario.
Right, because Charlie Day has a unique, distinctive voice. Like Chris Pratt, like he sounds like the dude at the Burger King, right? Like indistinguishable from any other white dude.
Yeah, I don't know why they keep getting him to play voices. Like, yo, listen, as long as he's not going to be, I know Wes Ball's going to do Legend of Zelda real soon before he
Really?
does the next Apes movie. I just hope Chris Pratt ain't Link. Because I know Hollywood pull some shit like that. Like, oh yeah, Chris Pratt is Link.
No, that's okay. I can. That's fine.
You know who you get to play Link?
Who?
Dylan O'Brien.
Dylan O'Brien. Who's there?
He's the Maze Runner kid, the lead in that. Because he has the face. He has the face for Link.
Yeah.
He's in shape. Like, he has muscle definition, but he's still lanky like Link. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Slender,
right.
I should say. Slender.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, fine.
Yeah. Dylan O'Brien has the face, and then he has the like Robert Pattinson's Batman, where he's slender but muscular. You know what I'm saying? That's my type of Batman, not the CrossFit Pro.
I like that CrossFit Batman.
Oh, anyway, that's episode 121.
We're the Film Blurs. I'm Brandon Nord, and I'm the motherfucking protagonist.
I'm the protagonist.
I'm Jeff Stewart, a.k.a. He Who Remains.
Don't come at us. It's just fucking movies.
You've been listening to the Film Blurs podcast.
Man, I just love what you guys do, man.
I never miss an episode. It's the best.
It's my favorite podcast.
Follow Jeff on IG on MindFire XL and Brandon on Twitter at BJN Tweets.